So, the VIA character strengths, virtue in action. Now, this started with researchers thinking about what are the predictors, I guess, what leads to a really fulfilled life, for someone to live a really fulfilled life. And they started thinking about this old idea of character. Now, character is a term that we've used for years and years and years. Philosophers have been digging into this idea of what is a strength of character. And we use this term character to talk about people in a certain way. And so they started to investigate, okay, so if we've got this idea of character and there's this perception that there's a connection between being of good character and having good life outcomes, we need to investigate this. We need to do some research. So they started to look at across the world at what people believed good character was. They did a bunch of research around what is this thing of good character as separate from, I guess, the cultural norms and various things like that. And so what they found is that they found that they identified these kind of 6 areas of character. Now, you'll be able to think of some of these. These shouldn't be unfamiliar to you, but they've got these 6 areas and 24 items that they talk about character. Now, much the same as in the personality stuff that you'll start to get an understanding of, the character strengths, we have them all, I guess, in varying degrees. So you might have one character strength that might be really, really low. And so this idea of character is about conceptualizing character as something that we vary on. And so the measure of character is about understanding our level of these character strengths. So the area of character are wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, which is an old word, along with transcendence, which is also an old word. So wisdom is this, it is what you think it is. You know, we use this term wisdom, but it's also this idea of creativity and curiosity, being able to judge, having a love of learning and having real perspective. So it's really this idea of kind of looking at the world and really investigating it, I guess, and being creative and curious and demonstrating wisdom. So courage is the second one. And it includes bravery, obviously, that is what you would expect. But it also includes honesty. You know, so that it does take, if you think about it, it takes a level of courage to be honest with people sometimes. It also includes perseverance. So, you know, to be able to keep going and doing something that's really difficult. And zest. So zest is this great word that I'm pretty sure we should make more popular. Zest is this kind of enthusiasm for life. And so that's part of courage. Now, the third one is humanity, and this is really about the way in which we engage with other people. It includes things like kindness and love and social intellect. So a person who's really high in kindness, in humanity, is going to be really strong in their kindness. They're going to have a big love for people and be really good with other people. Now, fourthly, justice. Now, justice often isn't something that we think about as a character strength, but if you think about it, it includes the ideas of fairness, of leadership, and of teamwork. And so justice is a really important component. If you think in terms of the work that you're doing in teams, whenever you work in teams, justice becomes a really important character strength. Now, temperance is an old word that we often associate with not drinking too much alcohol, but it includes this idea of forgiveness, of humility, of being humble, prudence. So I guess that sense of being careful about what we do, but also self-regulation. And finally, transcendence is, I guess it's this idea of rising above everything that's around you. And again, it's an old word, but it's a great idea. And it includes this kind of, this appreciation of beauty. We've all met people that you're sitting in the rain and you wish you were somewhere else and someone goes, oh my goodness, isn't the rain amazing? You know, they just seem to appreciate beauty no matter where they are. They rise above the situation they're in at that time, of gratitude, so thankfulness, hope, and strangely, humor. And this surprised me, but I guess if you think about humor can sit above everything. You can be in a horrible situation and someone will be there with a sense of humor. And that's that idea of transcendence. And there's also this idea of spirituality. Now, that may or may not be attached to religion, but it's this idea of greater purpose. Now, this is all well and good, that we can characterize our character, our strength of character, and we can give it labels, but in research, we're interested in what that means, okay? So these all seem like good things, but what does it mean? And what they found is that not only are these things related to positive outcomes, but you can change them. And so they have a process that you're actually going to go through in a minute where you do a survey, which you'll do, and it will identify your top 5 character strengths. Okay, now it will also identify your lowest ones, but don't pay much attention to them, right? Because you can't be high in everything, but it will identify your top 5 character strengths. And what the research says, and there's a lot of research to suggest this, is if you make a point of using these character strengths. So let's say I identified the fact that I was high in, kindness. I'm not high in kindness, but let's go with that. Kindness, humility, I'm not high in that either. And prudence, I don't think I'm high in that. If I made a point this week of every day using those strengths, that there would be a range of benefits associated, that things would change for me. Now, there's a whole bunch of changes, but the research says that there will be an improvement in positive feelings. So I'm actually going to feel better about myself and about the world. I'll have a greater sense of meaning. I'll have higher motivation. So if you think about working with other people, getting them to operate in their strengths means that they'll have higher motivation. This is really important for getting people working on things. But it will also lead to an improvement in goal achievement. So we've all had the boss that just wants us to do the thing even if we're not good at it. But did you know that when you get people to do things that sit within their character strengths area, or get them to actually make a point of using their character strengths in the work that they're doing, that they were actually more likely to achieve their goals? And there's other things as well, but they've also seen a reduction in depression as a result of this kind of thing. So character strengths is another way of thinking about who we are, because we all have strengths. But the benefit is in making sure that rather than just having those strengths and never using them, that we actually make a point of embedding those strengths in our actions every day. And then we have these flow-on effects. Now, for ourselves, the implication is obvious. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to make a point of using your character strengths. But when you're working with other people, you would be extremely prudent and wise to be making a point of identifying what other people's strengths are and encouraging them to work within those strengths areas, because the research says that you'll get better outcomes, that they will enjoy it more, that they'll have a better perspective on the world. Okay? So I really hope you enjoy this process. There's nothing better than being told what you're good at, and that's what we're just about to do. So I'll get you to step into the next bit, and I look forward to hearing amazing stories of you applying your strengths and seeing the benefits. Thanks.